Then Ethan Van Sciver said, "Terrific job, Mark. Thank you. I feel like you might be the only one who can destroy this evil. That's what it is. It's killing comics. I'll get more eyes on this interview right now." To which Mark replied, "Cheers, bud."
Which
maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't know.
no, the cheers bud is a clear distinction. He knows, because the cheers bud is EVS's kind of sign off whenever he wants to be toxically positive.
Is that true?
Did you look at EVS?
Thanks I get. Hello. I started this gangster shit, and it's the mother thanks I get. Hello.
Hey everybody, it's Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I'm your host, Ethan Van Sciver, the toxically positive 30-year veteran of the comic book industry. Happy to be with you today. It's very exciting. Listen, it's the beginning of a new week, and we got to move past last week. The last week, of course, the source of great stress and consternation for a group of people who've become known as cancel pigs in the comic book industry. Cancel culturists, SJWs, the woke mob, all of these things that they used to be called. We've pushed those to the side, and we've just focused it to cancel pigs. Cancel piggery has gone out of style thanks to a series of events. First of all, Glenn O'Leary, a retailer who has a YouTube channel called The Comic Book Palace right here on YouTube. He made a little video. That video was clipped by at DefNotTie. At DefNotTie, he released that video to Twitter, and it went super mega viral. In the video, retailer Glenn said, The reason comics aren't selling right now is the stories. The stories are awful. People grew up with Peter Parker. They want Peter Parker. If you're going to write a Tony Stark story, just give me Tony Stark. I don't want to hear about your life. You're boring. Just give me good stories. And this is from Massachusetts. Sorry, Bostonians. I love your accent. I just can't do it. This went super mega viral. It upset a lot of the left. For some reason, they saw that and they realized that what Glenn was talking about, the deficient stories that he was forced to try to sell in his comic shop, were a result of their political efforts to create equity in the comic book industry, in which people are hired because of demographics and not because they can sell comics. Understand, there are talented people over here, people who are good at selling comics. Maybe there are just too many men. Maybe it's just too many males that are being advantaged to write comics. Well, maybe there need to be more people who are hired for reasons other than talent, ability to sell, maintain sales. And that's resulted. This effort to sort of advantage some people and disadvantage other people based on reasons other than merit has resulted in this, where retailer Glenn is complaining, and he's making some sense, and people are listening to him. So these cancel piggies came out, and they attacked his physical appearance. They attacked the things. They didn't really attack his argument too much, because it's hard to attack that argument. Instead, they called him names. Mark Miller, one of the most successful creators in the world, came forward, and he said, "You people are cancel pigs." He interviewed Glenn. I responded by, EFAPing that interview. I said, "Good job, Mark. Thank you for this. It's wonderful." He said, "Cheers, bud," and the internet exploded. Now, that's why we're looking at these fellows right here, these gentlemen. These guys, Sean and Tyler, I guess they have their own YouTube show. I don't know. And I want to just point out, before we go any further with this, with that background having been said, these guys have been pulled into a war. These guys, they're comic book fans. They've grown up in a fantasy world in which there are good guys and there are bad guys. There are heroes and there are villains. And they want to be on the side of the good guys. They want to be with the good persons. They don't want to be with the bad persons. They want to be with the good persons. They've thrown in their lot. These are the same people, of course, that are just like Democrats good, Republicans evil, or vice versa, whatever it is. It's not about politics or any overall point of view. It's sort of ethics. This is my team and that's their team. All right, so anyway, these guys have had to kind of cope and seethe with their team behaving like complete a-holes. After all, it is not heroic. Imagine this cognitive dissonance that these fellows are having to wrestle with right now. It is not at all heroic to attack somebody who is offering a message or a series of ideas based on their physical appearance. They know that. That's called bullying. And everybody who they respect right now were caught being bullies. So now they're trapped, and they've got to create this new narrative, and they're working on that right here. Now listen, before we get into this again, further into this, let me just say I'm a father. I'm somebody who has raised kids. I see these two fellas here. They look like they could be my sons, both of them. And so I would say to these guys, I would say, boys, listen to me. There are people in this world who look at the top of your head, and you know what they see? They see a toilet seat. There are people who just want to lift the toilet seat on your skull, squat down upon it, and excrete and empty their bowels into the crevice where your brain should be, into that opening chasm. They want to fill it with their poop. These people could be Satan, could be the devil, could be news media outlets, or it could be people like Heidi McDonald, Mark Waid in the comic book industry. You've got to avoid these people who want to poop into your brain. These people are the wrong types of people to listen to. Always stay focused on your own, thinking for yourself. I think that's important. Now, unfortunately, these guys, they're not really doing that. They're instead running interference for the cancel pigs and inventing their own theories. For example, this.
But is EVS's kind of sign off whenever he wants to be toxically positive.
First of all, this is the second thing that I want to say as a father figure to these two boys. If you have wetting tackle down below, if you have something swinging between your legs, balls, don't ever say the phrase toxically positive. Further, don't say it about another man, okay? Don't accuse a man of being toxically positive, and don't do it while you're doing this. Don't, whatever you do. Thank you. Boys, I'm just trying to raise you to be good men.
True.
Do look at EVS's feed. It's Cheers Bud everywhere. He's got shirts that say it.
Okay, these are two lies. Well, first of all, here's the whole thing about Cheers Bud. The reason why people made a hashtag out of Cheers Bud, my friends, isn't because it's some secret Nazi code word. It isn't, okay? It's just an expression that a Scottish person might say to somebody who's holding the door for them. Perfunctory greeting. The reason why people are tweeting it out is because Mark Miller using that perfunctory greeting to say, all right, man, to me, was enough to make you guys fill your diapers for a week. It was crazy. It's just not that big of a deal. The idea that it's my sign-off or my expression isn't true. We don't say things like Cheers Bud in New Jersey. We just don't. We go, what's up, man? We go, how you doing? That's what we say. So if Mark Miller were to say something to me like that, I might go, how you doing, Mark? That's what we say in this district that I'm from. If you said Cheers Bud in Philadelphia, like, people would look at you weird, okay? They'd say, what's the matter with you? All right. The other thing is t-shirts. I'm not making no Cheers Bud t-shirts. That's not something that I'm doing, so that is a lie. That is a lie. There might be people who are making Cheers Bud t-shirts, but again, they're only doing it to make a quick buck off of something that's become a slogan because it made you look crazy. That's all it is. Cheers Bud made you people flip your lids, the lid on your skull that Satan is squatting on, and that is why. That is why that is happening. It didn't happen before. It happened after Mark said Cheers Bud, and you panicked. Guys.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't know that, but I already felt like this just was Mark flirting with something really dark.
Well, that's because you believe in your team versus my team. Mark doesn't. Mark actually isn't somebody who believes in factions or teams at all. Mark is entirely neutral. When you saw him come out and criticize the left by calling them cancel pigs, a certain group of people, not the entire left, and calling them cancel pigs, it's because he was criticizing their behavior, which he found to be repulsive and disgusting. He wasn't siding with me at all. I don't think he sides with me. Just about one thing. That's all. You consider that flirting with something dark. Oh, that's interesting.
And all stuff about the discourse and the retailer side, this is the line. And I think Mark Miller has crossed the line.
Well, if the line was perfunctory greeting to me, you should really take a look in the mirror and figure out what went wrong. Maybe get therapy. You know that like a meme that leftist women like to say, get therapy? Like the fandom menace who's criticizing Captain Marvel a little too hard. Get therapy, comic nerds. If the line for you isn't the idea that the people who you're supporting, as it turns out, are believe in hiring practices based on demographics, not on merit. If that isn't a line for you, but somebody saying hi to me, you are, you boys, fatherless behavior. I feel like I should have been in your life sooner. I apologize for that. Very mean girl, very feminine.
Now, granted, he didn't do anything with these people. It's not like there's a Mark Miller EVS, comic book coming out or whatever.
You don't know
and
that.
Like literally, you could go into EVS's.
What if there was? You don't know that there isn't a comic book by me and Mark, but if there was, and it came out and it sold hundreds of thousands of copies, which it would do, okay, just would. What would you say then? What would you do? Would you cry? I mean, if our entire point here is a prosperous comic book industry, that's my point anyway. I don't know what your point is. Comicsgate just wants comic books to prosper. If it were, if it made sense financially to just hire people based on demographics and not based on talent, ability, and the ability to create sales, if that actually worked, I'd be on your side. I'd be like, yeah, it just makes sense to hire people who don't know what they're doing, just based on the fact that they're women. But it doesn't. It doesn't seem to make sense.
Replies and tweets within the last 24 hours that are quite literally women are destroying comics. Like
I have them up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so if you're agreeing with something, like you're complicit in it.
You're complicit. These guys, again, these buzzwords, these cancel pig buzzwords, you're complicit if you're kind to someone or cordial with someone who they disagree with. You're complicit. You agree with everything that they say. I'm glad these guys make videos like this. It's important that they show you who they are all the time. As for attacking my argument's unassailable. My argument isn't what you say it is or how you're presenting it. My argument is that a while ago, some activists made the argument that comic books, as we have known them and loved them for 70 years, were sexist. And we needed to hire some people to come in there, some activists, to straighten things out. These people were hired because of their gender, not because they knew how to write comics, not because they were the best people for the job, but because they were women. And these people have a belief system that DC Comics and Marvel Comics, the people who they employed to make comics, should be a pie chart, and you should be able to break the people who work there down by demographics and show that there's equality somehow. That requires something called equity, which means advantaging some people and disadvantaging other people artificially. These are things, again, I don't agree with. And so what I'm saying is, 12 years ago, there was an effort to hire women based on the fact that they were women. And that's it. We need to hire more women. Those people got jobs at DC Comics. They're still there. At Marvel Comics, they're still there, making some of the worst comic books of all time. It's inarguable. These comics are absolute garbage. And people don't like them, and fans are walking away. And so when I say, women are hurting the comic book industry, I definitely mean those women. If you bring J.K. Rowling over here, J.K. Rowling is going to rock this house. Obviously, she's qualified. She's a female. She would definitely bring in sales. And I would just say, wow, ma'am, great job. It's great to have you in the comic book industry. Thank you for being here. It's a blessing to us that you're making comic books instead of making these Harry Potter books that sell billions of copies. Instead, you're going to Tumblr and you're seeking out a bunch of crazy fur-person cat ladies to come in here and write comic books for men that are largely for men. It's failing. It's not working. That's my argument, I think.
At that point.
This is what EVS said, and this was in response to Heidi McDonald, who runs Comics Beat.
Who is probably the closest thing we have to a comic book historian in comics currently.
No, dude, we actually do have comic book historians. There doesn't need to be a propagandist, corrupt journalist who's the closest thing we have to a historian. She might be the person from whom you get your ideas, the person from whence your bias and slants are drawn and created. In fact, she must be. But she's been proven time and time again to be corrupt, to have a slant, to have a bias, to be dishonest. To be somebody who's creating propaganda on behalf of the cancel piggery left, and that is who she is. You guys are free to believe all that stuff if you want to, but just don't expect the rest of us to. Don't expect the rest of comicdom to go along with cancel piggery. It's exposed itself. People understand who these people are now, and trying to build a new narrative, trying to create new scary storylines in which you're the good guys and everybody else are the bad guys, it's too late. You've exposed yourselves as supporting obnoxious, evil, horrible bullies. Horrible bullies, okay? You're the bad guys. You're on the, as it turns out, if this is about good and bad, good guys and bad guys, right now you're the baddies. Come join comicsgate. Comicsgate, of course, just looking to make comic books, the comic book industry profitable, successful, to push back against political discrimination. I think that's what we need to do. And you can help us by subscribing to Comic Artist Pro Secrets right now. Ring the bell for notifications. And also looking at the links below in the description. Maybe you want to go out and support some Comicsgate comic books. Here's a good one. Cyberfrog 3 Red Extermination. Watch the trailer.